Hey everyone, today David makes good on a promise. The king asks, "Is there anyone left from Saul's family that I could show God's kindness to?" "Yes," the servant Ziba said to the king, "one of Jonathan's sons whose feet is crippled." Mephibosheth, Jonathan's son and Saul's grandson, came to David, and he fell to the ground, bowing low out of respect. "Mephibosheth?" David said. "Yes," he replied, "I am at your service." "Don't be afraid," David told him, "because I will certainly show you faithful love for the sake of your father Jonathan. I will restore to you all the fields of your grandfather Saul, and you will eat at my table always." Mephibosheth bowed low out of respect and said, "Who am I, your servant, that you should care about a dead dog like me?" Mephibosheth lived in Jerusalem because he always ate at the king's table, and he was crippled in both feet. When we hear this first question, is there anybody left from Saul's family? I kind of wonder if the people around David were thinking, what does he mean by he wants to show them kindness? There is still this tension probably going on of some people who didn't think David was the real king and that Saul's descendants, one of them, should be on the throne. And that's who they end up talking about. Jonathan was the son of the king, and this is his grandson. And so you might be forgiven for some of them thinking, he just wants to find who's left so he can take care of them. That's not what David is actually doing here. If you remember earlier in the story, Jonathan was David's closest friend. They had this intense bond of love. And one of the things that they pledged to each other was to continue to show loving kindness or faithful love. It's again, one of these key Hebrew terms of the kind of covenant, loyal love that God has for us. And so David had promised that to Jonathan, and now this is him trying to make good on that. There aren't too many left from Saul's family, but there is this one son. And so again, if you were going to be cynical about it, you could say, well, he brings him in just so he can keep an eye on him and make sure nobody else tries to set him up as king. But I think we want to take David's love for Jonathan seriously and see that is what he's trying to do here. All of our love is always imperfect, but this is him trying to show faithfulness to someone who, again, probably feared for his life. When David says, "Don't be afraid," to him, for a reason, because he had reason to fear. And yet David is committed to showing love, even to someone who could have been his enemy. And so what are we going to do? Do we invite people to the table when they're a threat, or do we see the commitment that we should have to them to show loyal love to everybody, everyone that God has created, no matter who they are, what their relationship might be, even if they might seem like they could threaten our way of life somehow? God calls us, Jesus calls us to show that kind of love, to gather around the table together and love no matter where people are at.